Hey everyone. Have you ever really stopped and thought about your clothes? Not just how they look, but how they feel. It's kind of a mystery, right? One that's hidden in plain sight, woven into the very fabric of our lives. Well, today we're going to crack that code.
I mean, really think about it. A super soft mull kurta and a tough pair of denim jeans. A lot of the time, they're both made from the same thing, cotton. So how is it possible? How can the same exact material feel so incredibly different? One is light and airy, and the other is heavy and built to last. What's going on there?
Well, the secret isn't really in the cotton itself. It's in the yarn. It's all about how that cotton gets spun into a thread and, this is the important part, how we measure how thick or thin that thread is. That's the key we're about to turn. And that key has a name. In the textile world, you'll hear it all the time: yarn count. Now, this isn't just some technical jargon. Trust me, it's the secret code that basically determines everything about a fabric: its weight, its feel, even its strength.
So what is it exactly? Okay, putting it simply, yarn count is just a number. It's a standardized number that tells you how thick or thin a piece of yarn is. And it all boils down to a really simple relationship between two things: the yarn's length and its weight.
Here's an even easier way to think about it. Just imagine the yarn count is the technical spec sheet for a single thread. That's it. It tells the fabric maker exactly what they're working with, so they can get a consistent result and predict how the final fabric is going to look and feel.
Okay, but here's where things get interesting. There isn't just one single way to measure yarn count. Nope. The industry actually uses two main systems. You can think of them as two different languages that are both trying to describe the very same thing.
And this is the part you really got to pay attention to. With the direct system, it's pretty intuitive, right? Bigger number means a thicker yarn. Makes sense. But with the indirect system, which is the one we use for cotton, it's the complete opposite. A bigger number actually means a finer, more delicate yarn. This is the key difference, and honestly, it's the thing that trips most people up.
This table really breaks down the why behind it all. See, the direct system takes a fixed length of yarn and just weighs it. The heavier it is, the thicker it is. Simple. But the indirect system does the opposite. It takes a fixed weight, let's say 1 pound, and then measures how much length you can get out of it. So the more length you get, the finer and thinner the yarn has to be. That's why it's perfect for natural spun yarns like cotton and wool, while the direct system is usually for synthetics like polyester.
So let's bring all this technical talk back to where we started, your wardrobe. How does knowing this secret code finally solve the mystery of why a soft kurta feels so different from a pair of sturdy jeans?
Okay, since we're talking about cotton, let's stick with the indirect system. The rule of thumb is pretty simple. A high count number means you can fit way more length of yarn into a single pound. A hank is just a standard unit of that length. So the more hanks you get per pound, the more incredibly fine, light, and smooth that yarn is. And that's exactly what you want for those delicate, breathable fabrics we all love.
And of course, the opposite is also true. A low yarn count means you get a lot less length for that same 1 pound weight. What you end up with is a yarn that's thicker, coarser, and a whole lot stronger. And that strength is precisely what you need for those durable, rugged fabrics that have to put up with a lot of wear and tear.
And here we go. This is the big aha moment. This is where it all comes together. That gorgeous, fine mull kurta, or that delicate chanderi sari, it's made from a really high-count yarn, maybe an 80s or even a hundreds ne. That ne just stands for number English, which is the standard for cotton. Your everyday shirt? Probably a versatile 40s. And those rugged jeans or that khadi jacket? Yep, built from strong, low-count 10s or 20s yarn. You see, the number directly translates to the feel of the garment.
So now you know. With this knowledge, you're pretty much equipped to, well, to read a fabric just by touching it. You can start to understand the choices and the engineering that went into creating it, long before it ever became a piece of clothing.
You know, this also clears up that whole thread count thing you always hear about with bed sheets. To pack more threads into a tiny square inch of fabric, those threads have to be incredibly fine, right? In other words, a high thread count is only possible if you start with a high yarn count. One just makes the other possible.
At the end of the day, it all comes down to this one simple, powerful idea. The size of the yarn is basically the architect of the fabric. Finer yarns will give you light, smooth, delicate fabrics. Coarser yarns will give you heavy, thick, durable ones. It's a direct relationship, and now you know how it works.
So the next time you're out shopping, or maybe just picking out your clothes for the day, just take an extra second. Feel the fabric. Is it fine and smooth? Is it thick and sturdy? Now you know the secret code, the story of the yarn count. That's woven right into it. Pretty cool, huh? I hope this was helpful.